Imagine waking up and finding out the dollar isn't what it used to be. Not a headline, not a talking point. I mean the moment the world's reserve currency cracks, not from a theory, but for real. It's not just about inflation. That's only the trailer, the coming attraction, not the feature. Presentation. Every news outlet shouts about rising prices. Social media's full of grocery receipts, rent rants, and complaints about gas pumps. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. High inflation isn't the main act, it's just the smoke showing you there's a fire in the foundations. Let's pull the curtain back. When the world's reserve currency today, that's the US dollar, starts wobbling, it isn't prices that explode first. It's governments, every crisis, every continent, every era. When the backbone of money snaps, nations scramble, they rush, they print money, they freeze assets, they panic. Some even start to rewrite alliances at 2 a.m. because the old rules don't work anymore. What does falling currency look like really? Let's flip back in history. Germany, 1922. The mark, once a symbol of stability, went up in flames. In a single year, they printed more money than in all previous centuries combined. Prices in Berlin cafes doubled in days, but governments imploded even faster. Ministers quit, elections descended into chaos. Neighbors became enemies because everyone was fighting for a seat in the lifeboat. Fast forward to Argentina, late 80s. The peso lost its anchor. Prices spun out of control. Sure, everyone talks about inflation, bread costing a week's salary, but the real story was the collapse in trust. Political factions splintered. Emergency measures became the norm. Leaders appeared and vanished, sometimes in the same month. Streets filled with new flags and old grudges. That pattern repeats over and over. It's not just money that crumbles, it's confidence. And when confidence goes, alliances shatter. Those who were friends on Monday become rivals on Wednesday. So let's talk about the dollar, the glue that holds international trade, debt, oil. When the dollar falls, countries don't just face higher grocery bills, they face existential uncertainty. Every government asks the same question: who leads next? The scramble begins. Power is suddenly up for grabs, but it's hard to see all this in real time. When inflation spikes, it feels urgent, personal, angry, but it's just the opening act. The falling dollar triggers a sequence, a chain reaction going far beyond the cash in your wallet. This is where history becomes your best ally. Ignore the talking heads, study the pattern. First comes the trailer, inflation. Then comes the real movie, the race for who controls the reset. If you're starting to feel the urgency, hit that like button and subscribe to the Hidden Ledger. We're not just about trends, we're about connecting the dots that others miss. And history has the answers if you know where to look. Let us dig into how governments respond when they smell weakness in the world's reserve currency. Because the real chain reaction isn't just about money, it's about who is bold enough to grab the power that has fallen to the floor. Now, let's zoom in on what happens behind closed doors in government offices when the dollar falters. We're used to thinking about politics as slow-moving, but when currency crises hit, politicians move faster than anyone you've ever seen. First, the printing presses start. Every government facing the threat of losing its reserve status turns to the oldest emergency tool: more money. But here's the catch, it's never enough. The more you print, the less it's worth. The cycle spins faster and faster. Let us go back to 1970s Britain. Sterling was the world's secondary reserve. When it lost ground, the printing started. Austerity measures followed, and citizens faced wage freezes. The government called emergency meetings, some lasting days. Yet, every decision created more uncertainty. Coalitions fractured, leadership changed hands, and on the world stage, British influence shrank rapidly. Printing isn't the only move. Freezing assets is next. Governments seize bank accounts, block transfers, or set new capital controls overnight. It's a last-ditch attempt to stop capital flight, but it rarely works. People get smarter. Money always finds a way out. But these freezes send a message: everything's negotiable now. In 2015, Greece faced this head-on. The euro wasn't the reserve currency, but its local banking crisis had reserve-scale consequences. Greek citizens woke up to closed ATMs, government freezes, and overnight rules banning withdrawals above a few €100. Trust evaporated. People bartered. The social contract changed, not by law, but by necessity. This type of panic isn't just local. When a reserve currency falls, it's global. Countries start picking sides in real time. Some run toward gold, others to oil, some to new digital assets, some form regional blocs. Alliances that seemed unbreakable dissolve overnight. Think about the world after World War II. The dollar replaced the British pound, not because America was richer, but because others trusted it more. That trust was hard-fought, built on stability, not just strength. When trust goes, nations scramble to find new anchors. Sometimes that anchor is another currency, sometimes a metal, sometimes just a military alliance. This scramble is the real chain reaction. Everyone wants to lead the reset. Some countries try to band together. Some pivot toward old foes for survival. The race to redefine leadership is messy, chaotic, and full of double crosses. But it's also the biggest open secret in history. Empires don't collapse quietly. Their leaders make grand gestures, give rousing speeches, offer new systems. Rarely do any of them work. The population feels the pain first, followed by politicians desperate to look confident. When the dollar really falls, expect three things. Governments will print, freeze, and bluff. The old alliances will fracture, sometimes in public, sometimes in secret. The next global leader won't just inherit power, they'll battle for it. And every nation will have to choose their side. The panic is contagious. One government's emergency plan becomes the region's problem within days. Old enemies shake hands, old friends stop returning phone calls. But wait, before you think it's just about politicians. Remember, every chain reaction creates opportunity and risk. The average person gets hit by waves they didn't see coming. Your investments, savings, and even daily routines all get rewritten. As we move to the next chapter, let's examine what happens on the ground, how society responds, how individuals fight back, and how chaos becomes the new normal. Now picture society in motion after governments panic, freeze, and dodge. The chain reaction spreads to everyday life. It's no longer about headlines. It's about how you live, how you survive, how you rebuild. First comes the scramble. People rush to stores. They buy essentials, food, water, batteries, barter returns. Old skills suddenly matter. Your neighbor with chickens and a garden, suddenly, that's wealth. The digital world slows. Cash becomes elusive. New currencies emerge. Sometimes it's goods. Sometimes it's crypto. Sometimes just trust. Innovation spikes. Necessity forces creativity. When Zimbabwe faced hyperinflation, citizens invented new hustles, mobile payments, outside the system trades, community backing each other. Argentina's citizens navigated rapid devaluation with pop-up economies, pop-up repair shops, private lessons, off-the-books medical care. The official system failed, but people kept moving. Chaos is the rule, not the exception. Trust in old institutions crumbles, but microtrust grows. New leaders rise up, local, not national. Sometimes it's a teacher, sometimes the local shop owner, sometimes a family matriarch. The chain reaction creates new networks, new rules, new powers. But danger grows, too. Crime rises, opportunists prey on the vulnerable. Uncertainty feeds stress. Many just hope for the storm to pass. Yet, history shows survival is possible, and even thriving during chaos is real for those who adapt quick, lie, learn new skills, and build trust networks. Resilience is the key. Individuals who prepare, who read the signals, who don't wait for official rescue, turn crisis into turning points. Communities that cooperate, share resources, protect each other emerge stronger. In every currency collapse, stories emerge of people rebuilding, inventing, creating something new from the old ruins. This phase isn't easy. The pain is real. Losses are everywhere, jobs, homes, dreams. But by seeing beyond the chaos, by recognizing patterns, by connecting dots from history, you gain the upper hand. Adaptation also means rethinking value. What matters isn't what you own, it's what you can trade, what you can make, what skills you offer. In every crisis, human capital beats financial capital. Relationships matter more than resumes. As we watch new rulers try to grab the fallen power and rewrite the global order, never forget, society rebuilds from the ground up. Governments collapse from the top down, but hope always begins with individuals. If you're seeing how crucial resilience, learning, and connection are, now's the time. Hit like and subscribe to The Hidden Ledger. Here, you're not just learning history, you're training to be anti-fragile for the future. Let's wrap up by connecting the dots. After the dust settles, who really wins, and what lessons do we carry forward? After the panic, printing, and chaos, comes the reset. It's not instant. It unfolds month by month, year by year. But slowly, new rules emerge, a fresh order, a new leader, maybe a new reserve currency. Some nations recover, some fade away. Who wins? History tells us. Those who prepare, adapt, and look forward, not just those who survive in place. The new winners aren't always the same as the old. Sometimes unlikely countries or communities step up. Sometimes new technologies replace entire systems. Think about how mobile payments reshaped Africa after decades of currency instability. Nations learn. Sometimes the lesson is always the same. Trust is the true currency. Governments that rebuild trust, that offer stability, that forge genuine alliances, thrive. Those that repeat panic cycles, printing, freezing, blame games, fade into history's footnotes. Individuals win by seeing the reset for what it is, a chance to rethink, restart, renew. The future belongs to those who spot the chain reaction early, build skills, invest in real relationships, and keep nimble, ready to pivot as the world pivots. But being ready isn't just personal, it's generational. Families who teach history, prepare for uncertainty, and pass down resilience, build anti-fragile legacies. Communities who unite instead of fracture survive every storm. That's not optimism, it's historic fact. Here's your takeaway: not every collapse leads to destruction. Most build the foundations for new growth. If you're watching, adapting, and learning, knowing the patterns lets you play the long game. Every crisis in history was also an opportunity for those who refused to freeze in fear. So, as the world watches the dollar, the reserve currency, and the system built around it, remember, history doesn't just warn, it equips. The chain reaction starts with the currency, but it ends with how you respond. The real story is always people, innovators, survivors, connectors. Inflation is just the trailer. The movie is about who gets up, what they build, and how they write the next chapter. Drop a comment with Anti-Fragile if you're committed to learning, preparing, and thriving no matter what the next chain reaction brings. And subscribe to the Hidden Ledger for insights that help you see the patterns before anyone else. That's the power of history. The trailer is inflation, the main event is the chain reaction. The heroes, they're the ones who train for the story history really tells.